Hello, today we have some great tips for you for the month of June. Now June is usually a month when the warmer temperatures start coming in, and also we have less rainfall. And so one of the first tips is making sure that you keep your landscape and your garden well watered. Now the general rule is that you water 1 inch per week, but that's going to vary depending upon your soil types, the types of plants that you're maintaining, and weather conditions. But the key is that you keep the soil moisture to about 6 inches deep, nice and moist. And if you can go a little deeper, that would be great. This helps encourage deeper root growth. You have stronger plants, and they're able to withstand the stresses that they might see later on in the summer. Now this is also a good time to do some light cultivation around some of your landscape beds and in the garden to get those some of those early weeds. And then put a nice fresh layer of mulch on top. Makes the gardens look nice and clean, and it helps maintain the soil moisture and temperatures and helps keep those weed seeds down. Now you may also have trees growing in your turf areas, and one of the biggest problems with that we have on trees is lawnmower and weed eater damage, trying to keep that grass and the weeds away from the trunk of the tree. And when we damage the trunk, we can cause decline and even sometimes death to the trees. So the best way to treat that or to handle that is to keep a weed and grass-free area around the tree, about maybe a 4 to 6 foot diameter circle. Keep that free of weeds and grasses and mulch it really good. Now we also have trees and shrubs that often have vigorous unwanted shoots and limbs. And this is a good tree to look at right here. This is a Chinese fringe tree. And you can see that we have a lot of branches that are a lot of suckers and water sprouts that are growing in this tree. They're growing in the branch angles, and these are unwanted limbs. So we're going to come in and actually clean out and remove a lot of these. And these are easy to remove with a simple little hand pruner, clippers. And we'll take out a lot of these limbs that are crossing each other, rubbing against each other, and they kind of take away from the overall vigor of the plants. Now, for some of you who might like to do some propagation, try your hand at that, now's a good time to take summer cuttings or softwood cuttings. And these are the new shoots on plants that have developed, and a lot of trees and shrubs can be propagated from these softwood cuttings. And what you'll take is, let's see if we can find a good one here. You'll take a branch or shoot that's a good 6 or 8 inches long, and what we want to do is we're going to remove the lower leaves, and the final cut that you make is going to be right below a node where the leaves were growing. And then we'll take off a few more of those leaves. And then what we'll do is we'll dip that tip or the end of the branch into some rooting hormone, which you can get at most of your garden centers. Stick that in a pot, a small pot with potting soil, keep it moist, and in several weeks you should have some roots in a new plant. Now we also want to keep an eye out for insects, of course, at this time of year, and especially as the temperatures get hotter and drier. Spider mites start popping up, and there are other insects that we can see in the gardens. A lot of times we can hand pick those off and remove them. We can use a hard stream of water and spray them off of the plants. Also watch for the natural predators. They can often keep those populations to a low roar. But if they do tend to get out of hand, then of course using and selecting the proper insecticide will work as well. Now also, pine needle diseases can be a problem. We have that on many of our pines throughout the state. And now, early to mid-June would be a good time to put down a fungicide application to help protect those pines from those pine needle diseases. Now for turf areas, now is the time to put down another fertilizer application on your warm season grasses. And again, we'll put down about 1 pound of actual nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. Now if you're going to establish a new warm season grass from seed, you want to have that completed by the end of June. This helps the plants germinate and develop and grow well, and so that they'll be ready for the winter months later on. This is also a good time to do any weed control, post-emergence weed control on crabgrasses that you may have missed from pre-emergence herbicides earlier, as well as some of the other summer annuals. You can do this with a post-emergence application with herbicides. There are several of them on the market listed for both crabgrass and grassy weed control, as well as the broadleaf weeds. Now, for those of you who are maintaining cool season grasses, brown patch can become a problem this summer. And this is usually a disease that pops up when there's high humidity and warm temperatures. And so there are fungicides that you can use to help protect your plants or control that disease, but some good cultural practices will go a long way. And some of that is just, again, watering deeply when you do water, and then don't water again for a while until the plants are just starting to show a little water stress. I mean, also water maybe in the latter part of the morning. Don't water late at night, because the idea is to keep the grass blades as dry as possible for as long as possible. And you can also maybe remove or open up the area. Sometimes the poor air movement helps create that stagnant, humid environment in a landscape. So if you can remove some limbs or remove some plants or do something to help open up the landscape a little bit so you have more air movement through there, that will also help in reducing the incidence of the disease. For annuals in the landscape, now is a good time to maybe give them a good pinching, cut them back a little bit. This will help encourage more bushing and more flowering. Give them a good shot of fertilizer, and then keep them well watered. And then finally, for perennials, especially those that are well established, give them a good shot of fertilizer to help carry them through the summer months. And if you have tall ones, and you haven't staked them, now would be a good time to put some kind of a staking material in place to help protect them from the Oklahoma winds. Well, these are all the tips we have for you for this month. I hope this is helpful in keeping your landscape strong and healthy and beautiful.